Hello, and welcome to the Winters Theater Company's special Valentine's Day presentation. For many centuries, people have celebrated February 14th in honor of Saint Valentine, who is thought to have been an early Christian bishop and martyr who preached sermons about love. Well, today we send flowers and cards and candies and gifts as special tokens of affection. The theater company would like to send our special Valentine to you, our friends, in the form of scenes, sonnets, and songs. So let's get started. When love stories are being discussed, many people think about Romeo and Juliet, those young lovers whom we all first met in English class. Many of us joyfully, some of us a bit reluctantly. But as we grew older, we came to consider them as among the finest literary examples of young love. We admire the poetry of Shakespeare and also the courage of these young people as they discuss their love, a very new love, in the face of an extreme obstacle. You see, Juliet is a Capulet and Romeo is a Montague, and the families are bitter enemies as a result of an ancient feud. The balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet.
He jests at scars that never felt a wound. It's soft. What light through yonder window breaks? 'Tis the east. Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. Oh, it is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. No. I am too bold. It is not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright, the birds would sing and think it were not night. Oh, see how she rests her hand upon her cheek. That I were a glove upon that hand, that I may touch that cheek.
Ay me.
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night, being o'er my head, as is a winged messenger of heaven unto the white upturned wondering eyes of mortals who fall back to gaze upon him, as he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's a Montague? 'Tis nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without the title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for thy name, which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth, I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus bescreened in night so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name, I know not how to call thee, how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I written, I would tear the word.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's speech, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? And tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings did I approach these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out, and what love can do that dares love attempt? Therefore, thy kinsmen are no let to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
Alack, there is more peril in thine eye than in 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity.
I would not for the world that they saw thee here.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their sight, and but thou loves me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued, wanting of thy love.
By whose direction foundest thou this place?
By love, who first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far as that vast shore washed with the farthest sea, I would adventure for such merchandise.
Oh, thou knowest the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Oh, fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke, but farewell, compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say I, and I shall take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou may prove forsworn. As lovers' perjuries, they say Jove laughs. Oh, gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou thinkst I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay. So wilt thou woo, else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou may thinkst my behavior light. But trust me, gentlemen, I prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that's thou overheardst me ere I was ware my true love's passion. Therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love which the dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear, that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all. Or if thou wilt swear, swear by thy gracious self, which is the god of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
My heart's dear love.
Oh, well, do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It's too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning with that cease to be ere one can say it lightens. Sweet good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night. Good night. As sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
Well, what satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave it thee before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love?
To be frank, and give it thee again. And yet I wish for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. Oh, I hear some noise within. Dear love, adieu. Anon, good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Oh, stay but a little. I will come again.
Oh, blessed, blessed night. I am afeard. Being a knight, all this is but a dream. Too flattering sweet to be substantial.
3 words, dear Romeo, then good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send word to me tomorrow. By one I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite, and all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world. Oh, I come anon, but if thou meanst not well, I do beseech thee. By and by I come to cease thy suit and leave me to my grief. Tomorrow will I send.
So thrive my soul.
1,000 times good night.
1,000 times the worse. To want thy light. Love goes toward love, as schoolboys from their books. But love from love, toward school with heavy looks.
Romeo. Oh, for a falconer's voice to lure this tassel gentle back again. Bondage is hoarse and may not speak aloud, else would I tear the cave where echo lies, and make her airy tongue more hoarse than mine with repetition of my Romeo's name.
It is my soul that calls upon my name. O silver sweet sound lovers' tongues by night, like softest music to attending ears.
Romeo!
My dear?
At what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
At the hour of 9.
I will not fail. 'Tis 20 years till then. I have forgot why I did call thee back.
Let me sit here till thou remember it.
I shall forget to have thee sit there still, remembering how I love thy company.
And I'll still stay, and let thee still forget, forgetting any other home but this.
'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird who lets it hop a little from her hand like a poor prisoner in his twisted grief, and with a silken thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous of his liberty.
I would I were thy bird.
Sweet, so would I. Yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Sleep dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep in peace, so sweet to rest. Hence will I to my ghostly father's cell, his help to crave, and my dear hap to tell.
Let us move forward now several centuries from the medieval setting of Shakespeare's play to the 19th century and Victorian England, where we will meet two very famous English poets, Elizabeth Barrett and Robert Browning. They had a true love story, which I would like to share with you. Elizabeth was the oldest of 11, quite a brood, 11 children, but this was not a happy family. Her father was the epitome of the domineering, controlling Victorian father who controlled every aspect of his children's lives. He refused to allow any of his 8 sons or 3 daughters to leave his home. Well, the boys were allowed to leave it because they had to work in Papa's bank, but they were not allowed to leave the home to marry or to pursue a life of their own. Elizabeth was the favorite of the lot, but she was an invalid as a result of a childhood injury. She was barely able to walk and rarely, if ever, left her room. She was, however, permitted to publish her poetry, probably because her success reflected well on Papa Barrett, who knows. In any case, she became extremely well known and was considered one of the finest poets of her time. Now, Robert Browning was a few years younger than Elizabeth, and he was just getting started on his career as a poet, but he admired Elizabeth's poetry, so he wrote her a fan letter. I guess it was a very telling fan letter, because she replied graciously, as a well-brought-up Victorian lady would, and allowed him to visit. Well, this visit was the beginning of a year of secret meetings, Browning calling every time Elizabeth's father was absent. And if he couldn't call, the couple exchanged letters daily, sometimes twice a day. Elizabeth, a woman of almost 40, was overjoyed at being in love and being loved, and Browning returned her feelings in deep measure as she fell deeply in love with him. He persuaded her to leave the prison of her father's home and elope with him. He carried her off, they were married, he carried her off to Italy, where under the warmth of the Italian sun and the happiness of a well-established home life, Elizabeth regained much of her health, even gave birth to a son, and lived happily as Browning's wife until her death. After the loss of Elizabeth, Browning lived many years, went on to become Middle or Late Victorian's most respected poets, but he never remarried. After their marriage, Elizabeth shyly showed Browning 44 love sonnets she had written to him, expressing her joy at their love affair. And Browning was overwhelmed by their beauty and expression of passion. Now, these were highly personal love sonnets, but Browning allowed them to be published under the title Sonnets from the Portuguese because, as he said, and I quote, "I dared not keep to myself the finest sonnets in any language since those of Shakespeare." Ladies and gentlemen, the following sonnet, number 43 from the collection, is the best known.
How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight for the ends of being and ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seemed to lose with my lost saints. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death.
Sometimes love seems to happen at first sight or early in a relationship. Other times, a love affair needs a little help. In Shakespeare's comedy Much Ado About Nothing, we meet Beatrice and Benedict, young aristocrats who profoundly seem to dislike each other. Their friends carefully stage conversations in which each overhears the friends say that the other is dying and languishing for lack of their love. Ladies and gentlemen, what follows is the happy results of eavesdropping.
I don't want to set the world on fire. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na.
Pray thee, sweet Mistress Margaret, deserve well at my hands by helping me to the speech of Beatrice.
Will you then write me a sonnet in praise of my beauty?
In so high a style, Margaret, that no man living shall yet come over it. For in most comely truth thou deservest it.
To have no man come over me. Why? Shall I always keep below stairs?
Thy wit is as quick as the greyhound's mouth it catches.
And yours as blunt as the fencer's foils, which hit, but hurt not.
Ah, a most manly wit, Margaret. It will not hurt a woman. And so I pray thee, call Beatrice. I give thee the bucklers.
Give us the swords. We have bucklers of our own.
If you use them, Margaret, you must put in the pikes with a vice. And they are dangerous weapons for maids.
Well, I shall call Beatrice to you, who I think hath legs.
And therefore will come. The God of love that sits above and knows me, and knows me. How pitiful I deserve. I mean in singing, but in loving, Leander the good swimmer, Troilus, the first employer of panders, and a whole book full of these quondam carpetmongers whose names yet run smoothly in the even road of a blank verse. Why, they were never so truly turned over and over as my poor self in love. Mary, I cannot show it in rhyme. I have tried. I cannot find no rhyme for lady but baby, an innocent rhyme. For scorn, horn, a hard rhyme. For school, fool, a babbling rhyme. Most ominous endings. No, I was not born under a rhyming planet, nor I cannot woo in festival terms. Sweet Beatrice, wouldst thou come when I called thee?
Yea, signor, and depart when you bid me.
Oh, stay but till then.
Then is spoken. Fare you well. And yet, ere I go, let me go with that I came for, which is with knowing what hath passed between you and Claudio.
Oh, only foul words. and thereupon I will kiss thee.
Foul words is but foul wind, and foul wind is but foul breath, and foul breath is noisome. Therefore, I shall depart unkissed.
Thou hast frighted the word out of his right sense with thy forcible wit. But I must tell thee plainly, Claudio undergoes my challenge. And either I must shortly hear from him, or I will subscribe him a coward. And so, I pray thee, tell me, for which of my bad parts didst thou first fall in love with me?
For them all together, which maintain so politic a state of evil that they shall admit no good part to intermingle with them. But for which of my good parts did you first suffer love for me?
Suffer love, a good epithet. I do suffer love indeed, for I love thee against my will.
In spite of your heart, I think. Alas, poor heart, if you spite it for my sake, I shall spite it for yours, for I will never love that which my friend hates.
Thou and I are too wise to woo peaceably.
It appears not in this confession. There is not one wise man among 20 that would praise himself.
An old instance, Beatrice, that lived in the time of good neighbors. If a man do not erect in this age his own tomb ere he dies, he shall live no longer in monument than a bell rings or a woman weeps.
And how long is that, think you?
Question. Why, an hour in clamor and a quarter in room. And therefore it is most expedient for the wise, if Dawnworm, his conscience, find no impediment to the contrary, to be the trumpet of his own virtues as I am to myself. So much for praising myself, who I myself will bear witness is praiseworthy. And so tell me, how doth your cousin?
Very ill.
And how do you?
Very ill, too.
Serve God, love me, and mend. There I will leave you two, for here comes one in haste.
My lady, you must come to your uncle, yonder's old coil at home. It is proven that my lady Hero has been falsely accused. The prince and Claudio mightily abused, and Don John is the master of all, who has fled and gone. Will you come presently?
Will you go hear this news, Signor?
I will live in thy heart, die in thy lap, and be buried in thine eyes. And moreover, I will go with thee to thy uncle's.
During his career as poet and playwright, William Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets dealing with varying aspects of love. One of the most admired states that special love between people with similar backgrounds, similar ideas, and deeply committed personal relationship will not change with the aging of the participants or the passing of years. Love will be as constant, a fixed mark as the North Star. Ladies and gentlemen, sonnet number 116.
Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark which looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is a star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with its brief hours and weeks, but bears it out, even to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved.
When two people meet and fall in love, does that love last throughout the years or change with changing circumstances? Elizabeth Barrett and William Shakespeare in their sonnets both seem to say, yes, it lasts. The famous and much admired 20th century American composer Irving Berlin would seem to agree with them that love, true love, remains constant and lasts always.
I'll be loving you always with a love that's true. Always, when the things you've planned need a helping hand, I will understand. Always, always. Days may not be fair. Always. That's when I'll be there. Always. Not for just an hour. Not for just a day. Not for just a year. But always. Not for just an hour, not for just a day, not for just a year, but always.
Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet was a tragedy in which the young lovers did not survive. But in his comedies, Shakespeare's young lovers end up at the altar with everyone rejoicing. Of course, this happy ending does not occur until 3 or 4 acts of mistaken identities, misunderstandings, parental disapproval, and whatnot. The following scene from A Midsummer Night's Dream features Hermia, a young Athenian maiden, and Lysander, the young man whom she loves and hopes to marry. Hermia's father, however, has selected another groom for her, and if she refuses Daddy's choice, well, she faces life in a convent or even death. Tough love. We join this unhappy couple as they discuss their predicament and plot to escape, elope, and thus defy the harshness of the Athenian law.
How now, my love? Why is your cheek so pale? How chance the roses there to fade so fast?
Belike for want of rain, which I could well beteem them from the tempest of my eye.
Ay, me, for aught that I could ever read, could ever hear by tale or history, the course of true love never did run smooth. But either it was different in blood.
Oh, cross, too high to be enthralled to low.
Or else misgraffed in respect of years.
Oh, spite, too old to be engaged to young.
Or else it stood upon the choice of friends.
Oh, hell, to trust love by another's eyes?
Or there were a sympathy and choice. War, death, and sickness did lay siege to it, making it momentary as a sound, swift as a shadow, short as any dream. brief as the lightning and the collied night that in a spleen unfolds both heaven and earth. And ere a man hath power to say, behold, the jaws of darkness do devour it. So quick, bright things come to confusion.
If then true lovers have been ever crossed, it stands as an edict in destiny. Then let us teach our trial patience, because it is a customary cross. As due to love as dreams and thoughts and sighs, wishes and tears, poor fancy's followers.
Good persuasion. Therefore, hear me, Hermia. I have a widow aunt, a dowager of great revenue, and she hath no child. From Athens is her house remote 7 leagues. She respects me as her only son. There, gentle Hermia, may I marry thee. And to that place the sharp Athenian law cannot pursue us. If thou lovest me, then steal forth thy father's house tomorrow night, and in the wood, a league without the town, where I did meet thee once with Helena, to do observance to a morn of May, there will I stay for thee.
My dear Lysander, I swear to thee, by Cupid's strongest bow, by his best arrow with the golden head, by the simplicity of Venus's doves, by that which knitteth souls and prospers love, and by that fire which burned the Carthage queen when the false Trojan under sail was seen, and by all the vows that ever men have broke, in number more than women ever spoke. In that same place thou hast appointed me, truly. I will meet with thee.
Keep promise, love.
Our next selection, we turn to the hit song from the 1930s, You Made Me Love You, in which the singer falls reluctantly and then desperately in love and demands that the affection be returned.
You made me love you. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. You made me want you. And all the time you knew it. I guess you always knew it. You made me happy sometimes. You made me glad. But there were times you made me feel so bad. You made me cry for I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to tell you. I want some love that's true. Yes, I do. Indeed, I do. You know I do. Give me, give me, give me, give me what I cry for. You know you've got the brand of kisses that I'd die for. You know you made me love you. You made me love you. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. You made me want you. And all the time you knew it. I guess you always knew it. You made me happy sometimes. You made me glad. But there were times you made me feel so bad. You made me cry for I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to tell you. I want some love that's true. Yes, I do. Indeed, I do. You know I do. Give me, give me, give me, give me what I cry for. You know you've got the brand of kisses that I'd die for. You know you made me love you.
We have seen how in times past, family feuds, parental objections, changed circumstances often presented obstacles to love. But even today, in 2021, we have our own special set of obstacles. Imagine a couple meeting during COVID-19 and being so frustrated they can't agree even on the details of their courtship. However, true love finds a way. Ladies and gentlemen, we present a lighthearted look at courtship entitled Love During the Times of the Pandemic.
We met through friends.
We met online.
We sat inside.
In the sunshine.
Oh, yes, I remember it well. The quarantine was off.
In the purple tier. Yet you didn't cough.
That's right, that's right.
It warms my heart to quickly get a COVID test with swab or spit.
Oh, yes, I remember it well. How often I've thought of that Friday
Monday
night when we met to get our vaccine, and somehow I foolishly wondered if you might, by some chance, be thinking of that scene. You held my hand.
We didn't touch.
I paid the bill.
But we went Dutch.
Oh, yes, I remember it well. That lovely scent.
You couldn't smell.
I washed my hands.
You used Perel.
Oh, yes, I remember it well. Your shoes were shining gold.
My Birkenstocks were blue.
Am I getting old?
Oh, no, not you. How strong you were. You stole my heart and did it all 6 feet apart.
Oh, yeah, we remember it well.
We have performed scenes, sonnets, and songs as promised, all of which depict varying aspects of love throughout the centuries. And now, from all of us, the members of the Winters Theater Company, we send happy Valentine's Day wishes to all you, our special friends. And equally important, we send our love and wishes to those whom you love as well. Thank you.